Absolutely.
It just landed in the inbox, right? I see it there.
So with that, do I have somebody, do I have a motion to accept this agenda, knowing there's a change?
Also moved.
Second,
Okay, motion made by Brian Swanson, seconded by Christy Dawson. Roll call vote, please.
trustee Paff,
Aye.
trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
trustee Dawson,
Aye.
trustee Carolyn Swanson.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great, thank you all very much. We will move into closed session. In closed session, we will be discussing planning and preparation with PGTA for 2020-2021. We will discuss planning and preparation with CSEA for 2020-2021. We will have a conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation. We will get to the discussion of superintendent goals and evaluation and superintendent and assistant superintendent contracts 2021 through 2024. Okay, we could please let us reconvene in closed session. Thank you.
Mandy, I don't see Lou. Ralph mentioned he was going to be on.
Why would he be joining?
Or Mark, one of those two.
Let me text him because I don't know anything about it.
He said, oh, actually it says slight revision. Mark Davis will not be presenting, so Lou will be up first.
Oh,
But he had it in an email.
Ralph, do you have a all persons view?
Yes.
I see Carolyn, she's back. I see
Yes.
Christy.
And give me a second. Trustee Brian is also there.
Is he actually there?
Well, he's showing up on the participants.
Yeah, but is there a picture that goes with it?
Yeah, I don't see his his screen is up. He doesn't have his camera on.
I might not be there. Brian, let us know if you're there.
For the culinary floor, it's up there. So we just, if you would just ask the board to add that one item to the agenda, that would be great. Then we just need to vote it in.
Okay, are we still waiting for Christy? I don't see her yet.
She's
Look
there.
again.
Yeah, she's there.
Okay, did you find your mouse, Christy?
Yes, I turn it off now because I don't want you hearing what I
Okay,
yell.
very good. Is Carolyn on?
Yes, she is.
Very good. Okay, we are reconvening in open session. In closed session, we discussed collective bargaining, planning and preparation with PGTA for 2020, 2021. We discussed collective bargaining session planning and preparation with CSEA for 2020, 2021. There was no input from legal counsel regarding existing litigation. And at the end of open session, we'll end up going back for superintendent goals and evaluation. We discussed the superintendent and assistant superintendent contract extensions. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Communications. So we had multiple letters.
Mr. President, excuse me if you would. I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. We need to go back to
Yes, sir.
our agenda.
Yes.
Board, there's a walk-on item. Dr. Porras, you want to explain that briefly?
Sure. There's a walk-on item from Director Kelly from Facilities. It's titled Contract for Services for Conklin Brothers for the Pacific Grove High School Culinary Room Improvements. We've been working hard on this and wanted to get this on to the meeting tonight so that we can have a good chance at having the materials and the current price intact, and the fear of waiting much longer and not having the available materials. So he asked to walk this on this evening. The item has been posted on the web and has been made available to all trustees. So we're asking this evening if you would please add it to the agenda under action.
Okay, thank you. So that would be what on the agenda? Under action?
Action and whatever, the last item on the action agenda is item J. So
The item K.
you could have a K or you could add it right after we do the rest of the culinary improvements.
Let's do that. Let's do it after the satellite painting, okay? So that'll be item J, will be flooring, and K will be board calendar, future meetings.
Correct. If we can have a motion in a second, would be great.
Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as revised?
So moved.
I can second that.
Okay, thank you. Motion was made by Christy Dawson, seconded by Brian Swanson. I'd also like to welcome our student rep here tonight. Our student rep will be Isabella Yanez, sitting in for Gabby tonight. Isabella, are you on?
Hi, yes,
Nice to have you. Thank you very much.
thank you.
I apologize for mispronouncing your last name. Isabel Yanez?
Yeah, it's Yanez.
Yanez, thank you. Sorry, accents on the wrong syllables. Okay, thank you. So thank you. Nice to have you here tonight. With that, we will move to written communications.
We need a vote, Mr. President.
Oh, we do need a vote. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Paff,
Aye.
trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
trustee Dawson,
Aye.
trustee Carolyn Swanson,
Aye.
student advisory.
She's muted. There you go.
Isabel, if you're still on, have you said aye?
Aye, sorry.
Perfect. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Yeah, it's a lot easier in person. So with that, we have accepted the agenda. We'll move on to written communications. We had a letter concerning changes to the PGMS end of school year activity changes. We had a letter from a parent regarding clearing weeds up at the high school. We had a letter from a job applicant, which was interesting. I forwarded that to Ms. Menke. A letter concerning the board position. A letter congratulating BreakerBots. Congratulations, BreakerBots. That was a nice video. A letter noting the success of our culinary students in competition, and we should be proud of them as well. 3 places. That's terrific. Thank you very much for the video. We had, I think the last count I had was 68, but I'm sure it's upwards of 75 letters from teachers at all sites requesting we thoroughly review the PGTA offer for 2020-2021 compensation. And many items were listed in there. Consideration for the extraordinary work done this year, and mixed SIG health insurance, and the high expenses living here. So thank you all for writing. We did read them all. And a letter to us from a middle school student asking for middle school graduation that was not drive-by. That's what I have down. Mr. Swanson, do you have anything further?
No, I think you got maybe one more than I did. I don't remember the drive-by about
Yeah, I didn't see that.
and there was one I think relating to math mates program too that we might have skipped over there.
Oh,
but
that is correct. We
Yes.
had a note from a teacher. Thank you very much for bringing that up about math mates and a program started by Mr. Christopher Rosas to assist in the elementaries. Well done, and thank you very much. That was sent in by two elementary teachers. Thank you very much. Okay, with that, board member comments. Mr. Swanson.
Nothing from me this week. Thank you.
Ms. Swanson.
Yeah, thanks, John. I also had a written communication from a staff member supporting and sending a thank you to Nurse Pally and her team, and a concern from a parent about class size for 5th graders at Robertstown. But as far as my board comments go, I'm going to keep them short tonight because we have a really packed agenda. But I did want to mention that I watched the high school honor award, and it was really moving. Actually, I really enjoyed watching that. Congratulations to all the seniors who got scholarships. Even congratulations to all the seniors who applied for scholarships. That's so much work, and seniors as a whole have had so much grit and so much grace this year. So I'm really looking forward to the graduation. I've seen the maintenance crews over at the stadium. I saw a maintenance crew working literally from 9 a.m. until I guess it was like 4 p.m. Pressure washing the entire stadium, really putting a lot of effort in to prepare. And so I think as a whole district, we're really excited to see our seniors graduate this year for everything that this really odd school year has presented to them. And then I was really excited to see that Chef Erickson's culinary class at the high school swept the countywide culinary competition, and I wanted to call out the 3 names of those students specifically. So I wanted to mention Caroline Cohen, Thalia Hubbard, and Max Erickson for placing in that competition. And those are my board comments for this evening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Swanson. Ms. Dawson.
Yeah, I just briefly wanted to say how exciting it is that there are vaccination clinics for our students. And what a difference a year makes. I also, as a former leadership teacher, want to shout out to the leadership group for the teacher appreciation video they did to the theme song of Welcome Back, Kotter. And I was sure they didn't know the original sitcom, but it was very moving and very sweet to get glimpses of the teachers and to have them feel our appreciation and have the kids really point that out. So it was a wonderful thing. And I too, like all board members, very excited as our year comes to an end, that graduations are percolating and we get to honor our kids. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Ms. Swanson covered most of what I was going to mention. So we'll continue on to Ms. Isabel Yanez. Isabel?
Yes.
You have any comments you'd like to make?
At the high school, everyone is excited about the end of the year and celebrating our graduates. We're coming off several successful leadership activities that we organized over the past few weeks, including the ASB and class elections, the honorary homecoming voting, teacher appreciation week, and 2 spirit weeks where we were pleased by the high level of participation. And I'm also pleased to announce that I will be the ASB secretary next year, and Anthony Biondi will be the next year's ASB president.
Whoa,
Nice.
good
Thank you
work.
very much, Ms. Yanes. With that, we move on to superintendent report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I only have a few items, but I wanted to mention a couple. First off, I also want to congratulate the high school, and this is probably going to come out mirror view. I'm not really sure, but if you didn't have a chance to print out the brochure and that went along with the scholarship awards night for the high school, really just a spectacular job. All the counseling staff and the administrative staff and the teachers, the high school and the classified staff that worked that out. Just a beautiful event, as it always is. And to just appreciate the work that goes with it, and knowing a lot of those students and having spoken with their parents, these awards mean a lot to them in lots of tangible ways as well. And so I was very just pleased that we were able to make that happen. And I want to make one other note, just because I think it's noteworthy. This has been a crazy year, and to have events like this be able to still unfold in his very first year as principal at the high school, I want to acknowledge and applaud Mr. Garcia. Walking into a comprehensive high school under the conditions that we came in, and coming in with just good grace and good humor and really just getting in and doing what needs to get done. I just want to applaud his efforts. Just not an easy task at all. And so Principal Garcia, thank you so much for the work you've done this year, and looking forward to the culmination of everything at the high school graduation. And also congratulations, of course, to be able to get the high school and the middle school graduations and promotions going. And I know the elementaries are doing a couple of things as well. I know that Robert Down's going to do a little drive-by between the two streets there. So that should be really great to watch. And I think Forest Grove is doing their play day. So lots of events happening, and just great to see, to honor the kids and the teachers for finishing out this year. And last but not least, I could acknowledge all of the staff, certainly, but some of the behind the scenes work that's been happening, that's been really a tremendous workload. Director Binder, Mr. Mejia, and the whole technology squad, all of our techs, they have been working amazing number of hours, trying to get synergy up in place, to get all of our technology in place, get it returned from the distance learning experience, and getting ready to set up our classrooms already for the next year. So much of that work is happening behind the scenes that rarely gets acknowledged, but I do want to acknowledge them this evening for that work. Just the infrastructure part of it gets missed sometimes. And so I want to extend my appreciation there as well. And last but not least, speaking of unsung heroes, acknowledging Trustee Carolyn and the squad of volunteers on the crossing guards. We've been following that pretty closely. And number one, it's just well received watching that happening, and also noting that there have been some safety concerns happening with drivers not behaving themselves, and our volunteers put themselves in a situation that's sometimes very, very tricky with the way that the drivers are behaving. And I wanted to let the community know that we've already spoken with the police department. Director Martinez has spoken with the commander, and the police are aware. We're going to try to make sure that their presence is a little more amplified in our pickup areas and crossing guard areas, especially the last couple of days of school, so that we can kind of reinforce the safety needs that we have for our students. So that's all I have for now. I'll have a few things to mention during the COVID report, but thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Dr. Porras. With that, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Peter Pan, that didn't get launched last week at the middle school, which was a very interesting production, all done at 6 feet distances. So you can put on a musical sort of live with everybody 6 feet apart. Pretty amazing. I think it's still available. Also, there are a whole number of people who should be thanked for above and beyond, practically everybody. But certainly I'd like to say thank you to Stephanie Lip tonight. Sorry, lost my train. For basically putting out food at a level that I think is unheard of in the district. And she and her staff have done a tremendous tremendous job this year. So thank you very much, Stephanie and Linda, and essentially everybody in that group. So thank you very much. We will move on to PGUSD staff comments on non-agenda items. So with that, I'm sorry, I didn't realize my video was off. If you are a staff member would like to make comment, we are holding a 3-minute, 20-minute grouping as usual. So with that, Ms. Mankey.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Billy Mankey, Human Resource Director. And tonight, I would like to acknowledge Kathy Hunter. Kathy will be retiring this year at the end of the year after 15 years of service in the district. And Kathy, we just want to say thank you so much. We are grateful for the work you have done, your dedication to students, parents, and the community. Thanks, Kathy.
Ms. Levy.
Good evening. I'm Stephanie Pearlstein with Miss Levy. I'm a 3rd grade teacher at Robert Down, and she teaches 4th grade. And we just both wanted to give big kudos tonight to the PG High Math Mates program that you mentioned earlier. It stands for Math Mentoring, Advancement, Tutoring, and Enrichment Services. And this program, as you mentioned, was founded and run by a student, Junior Christopher Rosas, and it allowed high school students to visit our virtual classrooms to help provide differentiated math instruction to best meet the needs of all of our students. And these kids, these mentors were professional, punctual, and most of all passionate in their mission to provide relevant and engaging math support. Some of our own elementary students who had been reluctant to unmute their cameras during our lessons were riveted by these older students, and they connected with them about their hobbies, their sports, their interests. They were amazing. They eagerly developed effective slideshows, interactive lessons that incorporated and enhanced our curriculum. They reviewed foundational math skills with struggling students, as well as extended concepts for students who were ready for more challenge and enrichment. So tonight, we just wanted to publicly acknowledge and thank the following PG High Math Mate students: Christopher Rosas, Malachi Peterson, Jack Hansen, Sawyer Rice, Samuel Couts, and Cameron Powley for their enthusiasm and dedication to inspire our young students to better relate to math while actually enjoying it. And this was just very much appreciated by both of us, as well as all of our students and their families. So well done, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Chavez.
She can't unmute herself.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm Erica Chavez, and on behalf of the Pacific Grove Teachers Association as its treasurer, we kind of missed the boat for the pre-recorded scholarship for the high schools. And I just wanted to publicly acknowledge that Brock Quindamil is awarded the Pacific Grove Teachers Association Dependent Scholarship in the amount of $1,500. And Nicole Papineau is awarded the Future Educator Scholarship in the amount of $1,500 as well. So congratulations to those two recipients.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chavez, for that announcement. Ms. Gordon.
There we go. Thank you very much. And thank you for pointing out, the number of letters that you received from all of our associate members in PGTA. We have been working, as you know, tirelessly this year. We've been hearing so much about the appreciations. And I just really want to support that we have come back with, I think, a request that is certainly reasonable, given that, last year, the increase that we accepted was less than I think that we had hoped because of the uncertain financial situation that might be caused by the pandemic. But as we've seen over the last 7 years, our property tax Revenues have increased on average of 5.3%, but our increases have been somewhere along the lines of 2 and 3% for teachers. And we're getting lower in comparison to a lot of our local districts, whereas we're like second only to Carmel in our budget. And we just are feeling like we really, and I hope you see all the red here, because we really want to be recognized as a priority, that we, the teaching staff really is appreciated to the extent that you tell us we are. And so we would really, really appreciate it if you, take this request seriously and come back to the negotiating table in good faith. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon. Ms. Selfridge, you'll excuse me. I think Mr. Keller was up before you, but he doesn't have a button. So we will come back to you almost immediately. Thank you very much. Mr. Keller.
Sorry, Mrs. Selfridge, my former colleague. I just have some announcements for Robert Down. We will have our Pacific Grove Breaker graduates coming through Robert Down, the middle school, and Forest Grove next Tuesday. They will start at Robert Down at 9 o'clock. And this literally will be a graduation memory walk, because they will be walking. And they're going to walk from Robert Down up to the middle school, up to Forest Grove, and then go take a final, their last final of their high school career. So thank you, graduates, for coming down. We hope you all come down. I will be hosting my last Ask the Principal Cocoa with Keller event this next Tuesday from 5:45 to 6:30. This is a time change because of a special event that Mr. Rogaman is going to share. Next Friday is the last day of school, but we are going to catch some tasty waves at Robert Down by having a summer surf dress-up day. So watch out for all the surfers out there. And lastly, as Dr. Porras alluded to, we will be having a 5th grade promotion. I decided with my 5th grade team this last week that we will have a drive, walk, or bike through from Spruce to Spruce, starting at 13th Street to Fountain, the last hour of school. So come on down if you want to see some 5th grade promotion happening at Robert Down. And congratulations to all of the staff in PGUSD. You guys are awesome, and you've done a great job through this pandemic. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Ms. Selfridge, thank you for your patience.
No problem. Thank you very much. I just wanted to give basically a big shout out and a huge thank you to all of the teachers who took the time to write to the seniors. With your help, every single graduating seniors have a letter from teachers that they may or may not have even thought about for a while. But I mean, more than that, I think they're just so excited to hear your voices. And so I just really wanted to thank you guys so much for taking the time to make sure that every single graduating senior got individual letters. So thank you very much. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, Katie. Mr. Rogaman, your hand is up.
Thank you, President Paff. Just on a personal note, I want to echo that. Thank you. Having a daughter who's going to graduate, she was the recipient of some of those letters, and they really touched her heart. And I really appreciate everybody that works at PGUSD for the incredible job that you've done helping the Rogaman family raise our daughter. We are super proud of her, and we know that it truly takes a village to raise our children. And we are very proud of the work that you have done to help out with our little Claire. The news that I had was that we have a music concert that actually is going to happen at Pride Place on Tuesday night from 6:30 to 7:30. So if you are in the mood for a little bit of outdoor music, come and hear the Forest Grove Robert Down Unity Band and orchestra play Tuesday night from 6:30 to 7:30. Forest Grove also is going to have a play day that's going to happen tomorrow, and then our 5th grade promotion ceremony will also be in drive-by fashion through the front of our school. So good things are happening all around. Once again, folks, as a proud dad, thank you very much for all of the work that you've done with my daughter.
Mr. Rogaman, I hope it is not through the front of the school, but through the driveway in front of the school.
Yeah.
With that, I see no other hands right now, so we will move on to, and thank you all. And Ms. Gordon, thank you for commenting on the letters and reiterating your points there. Again, we did read them. I'm 100% sure that I read them all and that all of the other trustees have read them all. So it is noted. With that, we will move on to individuals desiring to address the board. Public comment on any item of interest to the public within the board's jurisdiction will be heard. The board will limit comments to no more than 3 minutes for each agenda or non-agenda item, and a total time for public comment on each item is 20 minutes pursuant to board policy 9323. Public comment will also be allowed on each specific action item prior to board action thereon. The meeting of the Board of Education is a business meeting of the board conducted in public. Please note the Brown Act limits the board's ability to respond to public comment. And the board may choose to direct items to the administration for action or place an item on future agenda. With that, we are open for public comment.
Seeing none.
I see no hands.
I see no hands there either, Mr. President.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much. We will move on to consent agenda. Consent agenda tonight. Items on consent are considered to be routine and or may have been discussed at a prior board meeting. There's no discussion of these items prior to the board vote unless a member of the board requests specific items to be discussed and or removed from consent agenda. Each item on consent agenda approved by the board shall be deemed to have been considered in full and adopted as recommended. Board, are there items on consent that need to be pulled or further discussed? I'll start. I think I was at Carolyn, so we'll start with Ms. Dawson. Anything?
No, not at this time.
Okay, Brian?
No issues with consent from me. Thank you.
Okay, Carolyn?
Yeah, I do have a couple questions, and I just want to say I typically try to read the packet by Tuesday or Wednesday of the week, and I just got around, had some time to read it this morning, so I haven't had a chance to clarify this with staff, but I still think my questions are worth asking in public, so so here we go. So I have a question about consent B. Specifically on there, there's an individual listed for doing Robert Down SDC moderate severe program for summer school. And he's also in the classified assignment. So I wasn't sure if that was a typo or if we're having a classified person fill in as a certificated person, which seems really strange to me. So I wanted some clarification on that. And then shall I go on or shall I wait for clarification on that?
Well, is that your single question on B? I think I'll have somebody answer that, if that's okay. Billy, can you answer that?
That's my one question okay. For B, and then I have a question on N.
Okay, so let's answer B. I think that's reasonable to answer for consent. So without pulling it.
Good evening, Trustee Carolyn. We have several classified employees that are also duly credentialed as certificated employees, and the person you're talking about may be one of those. You didn't mention a name, but that is the case.
So the name, just so you can be sure that that is the case, there is Kyle Villavicencio.
So yes, Kyle, we have two on that assignment order that are credentialed as certificated subs, and one is Ricky and one is Kyle.
And are those education specialists credentialed for special education or just otherwise credentialed?
Ricky Calbalza is getting his special ed credential, and Kyle, I'm not exactly sure if he's in a special ed program or not.
Okay.
I'd really like to find that out before.
Okay.
Carolyn, so there's my question to you. Would you like to, with those answers, would you like to pull item B?
I would.
Okay. Ralph, would you make a note that we're pulling item B from consent?
Sure.
And specifically, the
thank you.
two folks I'm concerned about are Andrea Webb and Kyle Villavicencio. So if we could just have confirmation that they're certificated in educational specialist, that would be fantastic.
Thank you.
I would say they are credentialed substitute teachers, but I will confirm that and let you know.
So if we don't have the
Ralph, go ahead.
I just want to clarify, if we don't have the answer for this evening, how do you wish to just proceed with the item?
Well, I would hope that you're, one second, John. I would hope, Dr. Porras, that these two folks are certificated as educational specialists, or else you wouldn't be having them teach the summer school for special education. But there's been issues in the past, so I really want to confirm this before I personally can approve this this assignment order.
Understood.
Ralph, it comes to vote, so we get to
yes, I understand.
Walk through that.
Just make. I just want to make sure I'm understanding where we are. No worries. Thank you.
And item N.
Okay, so item N is on consent, but it's unclear to me why this is on consent. It's not routine. This is a brand new document that's being created and submitted to the state. So it's not routine, and as far as I remember, it hasn't been discussed at previous Board of Education meetings. So I'm uncomfortable with it being on consent. I feel like it should be somewhere else in the agenda so that we can actually hear from Director Davies and figure out, just hear thoroughly more on this document.
Okay, so let's pull item N.
Okay.
Thank you.
Where would you like to place those on the agenda, Mr. President?
I would like to place them before item K, actually. So we'll go, J is the walk-on, B goes to K, N goes to, what's after K? A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. And then M is future agenda or calendar, whichever it is. I don't have it in front of me.
Future board calendar, future meeting.
Board calendar. Thank you very much. Okay. Christy.
I have no issue with anything tonight. Thanks. You already asked me, but thank you for
I
asking.
did. Brian, did I ask you?
Yes.
I did. Okay. I have nothing further. N was a question for me as well. So that's reasonable. With that, we have public comment on the consent as listed.
No hand, no one raised.
No hands raised, so we will come back. Do I have a motion to accept consent, except items B and N?
Moved.
I'll make a motion
Okay.
on staff
We'll say move.
recommendation for consent.
Motion's made by Christy Dawson, seconded by Carolyn Swanson. Thank you all very much. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Pat,
Aye.
Trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
Trustee Dawson,
Aye.
Trustee Carolyn Swanson,
Aye.
Student Advisory. Thank you.
Okay. Action discussion. Dr. Porras, update on response to COVID-19.
Thank you, Mr. President. And my sincere hope is that we're going to be able to drop these COVID updates pretty soon as we hopefully get around the corner somewhere along the line since March 13 of last year. Actually, there's not a lot to report and any changes at this stage of the game. So there's not, this is going to be fairly brief. At this point, just this past week, the adjusted case rate was 2.1 as compared to 2.6 last week. We remain in the orange tier. As you may have noted, that was kind of announced repeatedly, while their mask mandates have changed for most of the business and general public sector, the mask guidelines still remain intact for schools. And as far as, I think particularly because of our youngsters that are still not vaccinated and the social distancing regulations. So for the remainder of the school year anyway, California has asked schools to maintain the mask mandates. We'll see what happens June 15th when the governor makes this announcement regarding the opening of the state and what happens with schools and everything else accordingly. I do also want to make a notation that the California Department of Ed and the governor's office are still vacillating on what their expectation is for distance learning next year. We had another discussion with two advisors this morning, and notably both the House and the Senate at the state end are not landed. So we don't know what this means exactly. We do know that the governor has entertained opening up the regulations around independent studies and how that could look. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge for us in the way that we operate with independent studies. But we're waiting to hear anxiously what that solution or mandate will be. At this stage of the game, pretty much most schools are hoping that there will not be mandates per se, but rather guidelines or recommendations to that end. I will say also that in the meantime, however, we have been planning for the contingency of distance learning next year. And through that end, the the ELO grant, the Expanded Learning Opportunities Grant that we will now be discussing a little bit later, will describe a little bit of the support mechanisms that we're trying to put into place with the funding that comes specifically for that work, in the hope of bringing on support personnel that can take on the load of using Edmentum and other online platforms for the purposes of distance learning with our students, kindergarten through 12. At this stage of the game, we have, well, we don't feel it's opportune or right to ask our classroom teachers to take on the distance learning role again, or a hybrid learning role again. Our intention is that our teachers back in our classrooms, working with their classrooms in person. If there is a distance learning requirement, we'll manage that through an online platform with support personnel. So all of that is up in the air, and it's frustrating because much of the reports that we have to do, like this the Expanded Learning Opportunities Grant, which has to be passed tonight. We were given very short notice. We've had literally 2 weeks to work on this, and the state has given us the opportunity to make it as generalized as possible, with the understanding that it'll get more specific in the fall, because they knew we didn't have enough time to be able to put this together thoroughly. So in any event, we're working with what we can. Also of note, I think Trustee Dawson mentioned this. We do now have clinics in cooperation with Montage. We are seeing clinics for 12-year-old and older for vaccines, which is great news. We have been working with All in Monterey, which you see in the consent agenda. It's after the fact. This is for ratification, but we were able to host that clinic last week, and it was very successful. So we'll continue that efforts as well as we watch what other regulations might come down the pike in mid-June. And that is all I have really to report at this point. We've got a lot going with a lot of unknowns, but as I hear more information, I will certainly put that report out and let people know, and let the staff know if anything changes.
Thank you, Dr. Porras. I'd like to just make sure I understood what you said and is in agreement with what I understand, frankly. That if right now the state has not given clear indication of what happens after June 30 with regards to hybrid or DL, but the plans we are making do not involve our teachers working double duty, both in a classroom and hybrid. And we will go out and find a digital platform that supports K through 12. Actually, yeah, K through 12. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. With that, Christy.
I just am delighted it was so short. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, there's a lot of happiness to look forward to finally. So wonderful news.
Ryan.
Yeah, sort of what Christy said. Nice that it was short, but happy that it can be. I know that it's been just an insane year for everybody, and but you know, I know that Dr. Porras, for you in particular, well, for everybody really, but you know, it's like you've gotten a lot less sleep this year than you may have in years past, and I know that this I really believe that the district is the last thing you think about before you nod off at night, and probably what wakes you up in the morning. I bet you don't need an alarm clock this year. So I appreciate the update and all the updates, and I'm glad that we are getting through this. And I'll leave it at that. Just thank you for all of that.
Much better than the 120 slide PowerPoints that we had back in March, if you recall. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Carolyn.
Thanks, John. Yeah, Dr. Porth, I just have a couple of quick questions for your COVID update. Now that let me start over, sorry. For the clinic, for the CapRx collaboration and the All in Monterey, do you guys have plans to do another one? I've been hearing a lot of community interest for folks who have 12 and up kids.
Yes, right now Montage has just opened up their platform for signups for those students. All in Monterey they do want to do another one with us. It's going to depend on availability of the vaccine and what they can corral. If they can, they'll let us know, and we'll certainly open up our doors for them to host it here again. So just it's a matter of timing.
Okay. Do you think that'll happen before the end of the school year, or what's kind, or like more like in the summertime, just if it were to happen?
Probably, I'm going to guess into the summer. With only 1 week left
Okay.
next week, I'm guessing into the summer, but who knows? They could call us tomorrow and I would be more than happy to arrange something for them the next day. So.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. And then I did just have a quick question about relaying information out to the community with the any positive COVID cases within our schools. Specifically, I wanted to ask, I know that a local district has like a COVID dashboard on their website that details cases and dates and such. And so I was wondering if PGUSD had any plans to do something like that.
We did discuss this actually a couple meetings ago. I think at this point there is not a plan to do that. We've been tracking the data as required internally, and there are a couple of districts that are there's a reason that they're being posted publicly, and so it's probably more towards the needs to be posted versus maybe posted. So at this point we don't have plans to do that.
Okay, thank you for the update.
Thank you. Ms. Yanez,
Yes.
any questions on that update?
No questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Porras, the only follow on to that is that the district did send out 12 and over notifications for Del Monte Shopping Center today, and Montage Wellness and Marina, and then Boys and Girls Club over the next 2 days. So we are publicly putting out information, even if it's not as close to home as we'd like. It's available now, which is always good news. So
yes, anytime we get information, I pass it over to Nurse Pally and she gets it put up right away.
okay, there is no action to be taken here.
No, sir.
So we will move on to adoption of Pacific Grove Middle School Science Curriculum, California Elevate Science. This was a public hearing, opened and closed last meeting, and we've come back to hopefully ratify this item. Board, I think we have had opportunity to decide if we have questions on this, so I will start with Mr. Swanson. Questions, concerns?
No, nothing that, I mean, we went through this all last week and I didn't have anything additional, so I'm ready to move on. Thank you.
Ms. Swanson.
Nothing additional.
Thank you. Ms. Dawson.
Well, a big thank you to the teachers for patching together curriculum up to this point, and hopefully this raises the level of science teaching in the district, and I'm very excited.
Ms. Yanez.
No questions.
Thank you. And I agree with Ms. Dawson. It was, I remember at least one time walking into Mr. Enterline's class and seeing a binder about 6 inches thick of stuff he had pieced together a few years ago as the NGSS, basically Next Generation Science Standards, were coming out. And he patched together a very thick book, literally. And I'm sure every other teacher at the middle school had similar. So thank you for working so hard to keep that going. With that, public comment.
Seeing no hands and nobody waving.
Okay, we'll bring it back. Do I have a motion to accept the California Elevate Science?
I move we accept the adoption of Pacific Grove Middle School Science Curriculum, California Elevate Science.
I'll second that.
I'll second.
Motion. Thank you very much. Motion made by Christy Dawson, seconded by Brian Swanson. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Pfaff,
Aye.
trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
trustee Dawson,
Aye.
trustee Carolyn Swanson,
Aye.
student advisory.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Okay, we'll move on to ratification of the prior vaccine clinic for PG high school students age 16 and older. Board, you know, this was a large success, and I know people who said they were in line for a long time, and even to the point where they were going to run out of vaccines, and they carefully tried to go through and do a count, and we're even shy a couple, and this particular group came out and said, look, give us your numbers. We will call you specifically when we get new things, so you will be absolutely first. So I think this was a success. I am excited, and as Trustee Swanson said, it would be good if we can get another all in. This is after the fact. I think there's no cost to us. I don't think there's any further information needed for it. So we'll just go around. Ms. Swanson.
Yeah, why is it after the fact?
Dr. Porras.
We received word on it literally just hours before we were able to host it. And that was before a board meeting, was between board meetings. And if we had waited to bring it to a board meeting, then we could not have conducted it. So we've been authorized since late March to take action on anything COVID related as necessary on behalf of the district. We decided to take the risk and proceed forward with prior to board approval and bring it back for ratification. It was a timeline issue.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Dawson.
Yeah, I'm delighted you jumped on this. I mean, it's so symbolic that the school is taking care of the kids so that they can return and get the education they deserve. So excellent work.
Mr. Swanson.
I'll keep it short. I'm thrilled that it happened, and I know upon occasion there are things that our goal really is for things to not come up after the fact, but obviously there are times when things happen like this, and I'm glad that you guys jumped on it and made sure that we seized the opportunity. So thank you for doing that. It's great.
Ms. Yanez, sorry.
No comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Public comment.
No waving.
Seeing none. Ralph, why do we need to ratify this?
Because it's still ultimately
cost.
It's still a contract with the board ultimately. So even though it's been approved and run forward, we're still by ed code. The board is still required to ratify.
Even a zero cost contract. Okay,
yes.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Do I have a motion to accept COVID-19 vaccine clinic age 16 and older?
So moved.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Christy Dawson, seconded by Brian Swanson. Roll call, please.
Trustee Pfaff,
Aye.
trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
trustee Dawson,
Aye.
trustee Carolyn Swanson,
Aye.
student advisory.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all very much. The next item is approval of Assistant Superintendent's 2021-2024 contract. These two items, D and E, superintendent and assistant superintendent, tend towards rolling contracts. There is no change in any of the terms of this contract. What it does is before we get into the last year, we roll it forward. This is a 3-year contract that goes through 2024. And as I said, the terms are essentially unchanged from where we were. So Dr. Porras.
Hey, Mr. President. Well, you just said it. The only change on these contracts are the terms of service. There are no other changes to salary, other benefits, or anything else. The contracts are noted there for you in the full agenda. We included an amendment to the contract, which specifically states what the changes are for. For this particular item, I'm asking the board to renew the district assistant superintendent Song Chim Ben Dib's contract for a 3-year school term, 2022 through 2024. And those would be the only terms changed on this contract.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving, Ms. Dawson.
Yeah, I know last week, Dr. Porras, I got a chance to thank you, but I just think it needs to be stated again. Yeah, I don't think this year could have been tougher for teachers, admin, and obviously district office. So you've just done an outstanding job, and I feel like the finish line is in sight, and thank you for all you've done.
Okay. Mr. Swanson.
This is for assistant superintendent that we're looking at. Right?
That's correct.
That's correct.
So sorry.
That's okay.
Song, you talk to Song for me.
You know, such an invaluable person to have as part of the team. You know, there's never been, there are usually five board members, and with often not meaningless, but somewhat random thoughts about, can I have this information? Can I have that? Can I get this? Can I get that? How quickly can I get it? And never once has Song said, I can't do that for you, or can I get it for you the next time? It's just everything that we have always asked for has been delivered. More information than we could possibly digest has been put in front of us as well. That's a good thing. We are lucky to have her as part of the team. So I think this is just a natural step. Quite frankly, I'm in favor of locking her in for as long as we can. You're not going anywhere.
Thank you, Mr. Swanson. Ms. Swanson.
Thanks, John. So I have a question about the contract wording. I think perhaps it's just a poorly worded sentence, but it's confusing. It's on the first page. It's number 6 under cell phone and vehicle expense. I'm going to ask that question if you're ready, Dr. Porras.
There's no changes on the contract there for this item. Certainly I'm happy to take the question, but at some point in time, if the rest of the contract is considered for any amendments or changes, the other sections of the contract will be considered. But I'm happy to certainly take any questions and jot them down, but they're not considered this evening.
Okay. So the question is, it's in the third sentence. It says the assistant superintendent shall receive a monthly work-related mileage stipend of $40 a month or $480 per year. And then it says for travel purposes accrued on a monthly basis outside of the district boundaries, but within Pacific Grove.
Yeah, we'll address that.
So, okay, thanks. And then there was one other, if you could just do like a search all in the document and replace any of the his with hers, because there's still a couple of his's remaining in the document.
Will do.
And I also wanted to say, lastly, and most importantly, I find Song, she is one of the most passionate people that I've interacted with at the district office. She really, she is extremely skilled. She is honest. I trust her, and I look forward to whenever she's doing a presentation because I know it's going to be well done. So thank you, Song. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Swanson. Ms. Yanez.
I don't have anything to add.
Fair enough. I'm pretty sure you haven't interacted with Ms. Song very much, or Ms. Chin-Ben did. So I will open to public comment. Thank you, Isabel. Brian, any hands?
I see no hands, no waving.
Okay, we'll bring it back. I make a motion to approve the Assistant Superintendent's 2021-2024 contract.
I'll second.
Oh, go ahead.
Motion's made by John Paff and seconded by Brian Swanson. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee
One
Pat-
moment, please. I'd like to make a friendly amendment that that section that I brought up is clarified on the approval of this document.
I accept that. So with that, I'm fine with that. Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
So Dr. Porras, you have that, correct?
Yeah, I have a notation for it. Well, when we, at such time when we bring these contracts back for further review, we'll make sure that's corrected. And in the meantime, we'll make sure that we're following the correct procedures.
Thanks. Carolyn, is that good for you?
Yeah, but that actually begs another question. On the item tonight, it says it's approval of the contract. Will you just clarify for me what you mean by bringing it back for further approval?
Typically, after we've done discuss salary changes for all the employees in the district, and we'll bring the contracts for the assistant superintendent and the superintendent back for review. And at that time, anything that has to do with compensation on the contract is reviewed at that time. This is one of those items. We wanted to make sure that we were not addressing any of those items at this time.
Understood. Thank you.
That work?
Yes.
Good, thank you. Okay, so roll call vote, please.
Trustee Paff.
Aye.
Trustee Brian Swanson.
Aye.
Trustee Dawson.
Aye.
Trustee Carolyn Swanson.
Aye.
Student Advisory.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Song, you are a pleasure to work with, as Brian said, and thank you for being here and continuing to stay with the district. The next item is approval of the
Mr. President, if I may, I just want to also thank the board as well. I just wanted to wait till after the passage of this item, but Song has just been incredible. She's an incredible work partner. Could not ask for a better assistant superintendent. Just phenomenal person. And I think that the leadership team functions smoothly, much due to her contributions. So it's very well deserved, and I appreciate the board considering this and passing it. So thank you very much.
Heartily passing.
Thank you. The next item is the superintendent's 2021-2024 contract in terms of service. Again, this is no change to the actual verbiage of the contract. What it does change is the years of service, which would have ended 2021-2022, takes it from 2021 to 2020, end of June 2024. I think Dr. Porras has been an asset to our district for many years and very, quite frankly, long served, which is unusual in a superintendent. I appreciate him being here. I appreciate the effort that he does put in. And in the strange year that we've had this year, knowing that I could contact him pretty much any time has been an exceptional boon for me being able to fully participate and try and facilitate and work in the community and answer questions concerning COVID and education. So I am wholeheartedly in favor of extending this contract through 2024. With that, Brian.
Well, I concur 100%. I had to say, and I said a little bit earlier during the COVID update, you know, what a tremendous asset Dr. Porras is to the district. I want to add to that, you know, I came into my seat here, I don't know, what was it, 7 years ago now? 7 years ago? And I had not the faintest idea what I was doing. And I have learned so much from so many, but Dr. Porras has always been so patient and heard me out when I had issues and answered every question, and often offered different perspectives as well that have broadened my mind. So yes, we're lucky to have him, and I want to make sure that we have him around for a while longer. So 100% in support of this. Thank you, Dr. Porras.
Thank you, Ms. Swanson.
Thanks, John. Dr. Porras, you know, he's extremely responsive. He's patient and he's knowledgeable. And yeah, I think it's really rare to have a superintendent in our district for this long. And so I'm looking forward to improvements in our district, innovations in our district. I think I'm hopeful that Ralph is the one to take us there.
Ms. Dawson.
I hope Ralph remembers what I said previously.
I did. Thank you very much.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you. Ditto, ditto.
Okay, Ms. Yanez.
Thank you for all that you do. And yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
With that, we'll open to public comment.
I'm not seeing any hands raised or hands waved at this moment.
Seeing none, we will bring it back. I make a motion to approve the superintendent's 2021 through 2024 contract term of service.
Second.
Motion's made by John Paff, seconded by Christy Dawson. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Paff,
Aye.
trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
trustee Dawson,
Aye.
trustee Carolyn Swanson,
Aye.
student advisory.
Aye.
Yay.
Thank you all very much. And yeah,
Thank you all
Ralph,
very much.
we look forward to, as Carolyn said, your continuing efforts and innovation within the district. So I do want to tell the general public that the average tenure for a superintendent is not like Carmel, which appears to be roughly 8 months right now, but is roughly 4 or 5 years. So to have someone with longevity and a history and understanding of where things have come from is really a significant asset. It sometimes is a significant bane, but we won't go there. Right now, it's just an asset. So thank you. And Ralph, thank you for staying with us. So
Thank you, sir. Thank you, board. Very much appreciated.
yeah. We will move on to approval of purchase orders for materials. Board, this came as an agenda item. And I requested that a number of items get summed together on a single sheet. And ultimately, I suspect this will be more like what we see for Measure A. For the smaller items that go with trying to assemble the construction that Measure D is putting into our district. It's really, to me, I don't think we want to see every order of Microsoft Office at $9.99 a month. Nor do I want to see an order for every pound of nails. So a summary sheet like this, and again, I think it'll probably change in form a little bit as it gets a little bit longer, what we have purchased, and we'll see more of it. But a summary sheet with some not to exceeds to allow Mr. Kelly and his crew and to bring us a little bit further along. So with that, however, part of this might be deciding what our threshold really is and getting back to Mr. Kelly. And I think we could do that under this action if we so chose. I think the largest one here is $25,000 for Uline. Everything under that seems fairly straightforward, frankly. So, Mr. Kelly, would you like to discuss any of this? Is Matt online?
He is. For some reason, it's not willing to go on mute. And again, I might be unmuting the wrong Matt Kelly. I'm gonna say.
I'm here.
There he is.
There we go. There we go.
There he is.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I think the item, you explained it well, is meant for in-house projects where our maintenance crews are doing the project and we just need to buy materials, or therefore owner purchased contractor installed items, which it's just a way for me to save a little bit of money if we can purchase them directly, and we can bypass some of the contractor's markup, and it kind of gives us a little bit more control and order exactly what we want. And it allows us to kind of open up the project, demo it, and actually see what really fits into that area. So it kind of a little bit of a design build type of thing, and it allows for a little bit of flexibility.
Okay, with that, I think I'm starting at Ms. Swanson here.
Yeah, thanks, John. Hey, Director Kelly. I have a couple questions, and I'm not sure if they're overstepping, so I'm going to ask them. But okay, so prepare yourself. So, okay, these are my thoughts when I looked over these kind of quotes and purchase orders. Do we have a wholesale account at Home Depot, or are we paying retail?
It's not wholesale. It is at a discount, a contractor's discount. And we do get rewards back, and so we get discounts off of that as well. So we get up front, we get a discount, and on the back end, we get discounts too.
Okay, excellent. And then as I was reading over your vendors, I was kind of hoping for more support of local vendors. I saw you had Ace Hardware on here. I was just kind of, and I see you have Hayward Lumber. I was kind of daydreaming that we could support our PG hardware like as much as possible for these. I'm sure you're familiar with them, and they're fabulous. And maybe their prices are competitive, maybe they're not, but that's just my 2 cents, possibly overstepping, that I would love to see some more local vendors supported if possible.
Yeah, we, in fact, we use Ace quite a bit, both Aces in town quite a bit. The Home Depot, we can get, usually we can get bigger, more commercial type things that Ace doesn't supply. If we can't get it at Ace, then we go to Home Depot. Basically is what happens.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic answer.
Yeah.
Okay. And then with Uline, I know these are their catalog prices, and you're probably aware, but just in case you're not, you can get your own Uline representative, especially for $25,000, and they've got much better pricing if you do that. And you know that already. I see you nodding.
Yeah, we actually just got one. We just signed up and got an account. So we never had one before, and then I'd actually printed that stuff out before we got that account. So we're up and running with them, and yeah, they're giving us that commercial government pricing account.
Oh, excellent. Okay,
yes.
So far so good. This is great answers. Okay, and then the last thing I have to say, just when I was looking over the food service items, I don't want to mess with that too much, just because I know that it's a special relationship when you start working with the sales representative, and they know exactly the specifics that you want. And I'm sure that Chef Erickson and you guys put in a lot of effort into solidifying all these details. But I just want to stress that when this equipment arrives, be sure to unbox it while the driver is still there and note any damage, or else we're going to be on the hook for it. And you probably already know that, but restaurant stuff is notorious for arriving all banged up. So just please make sure you check it.
We will. Thank you.
And those are all of my comments.
Thank you, Ms. Swanson. Ms. Dawson.
Yeah, I appreciate the new method of grouping things together, as you referred to earlier, Mr. Paff. So good work. So it's easier to grasp for not only the board, but the public. Thank you.
Mr. Swanson.
I do appreciate the extra info. I don't really have any questions. I am a little envious that you get to shop through the Uline catalog. Somehow, somewhere along the line, we got on their mailing list, and I really like to look through the Uline catalog. But nothing beyond that observation. Thank you for all the extra detail. It is appreciated.
You're welcome.
Ms. Yanez.
I do not have anything to add.
Thank you so very much. We'll open up to public comment.
I'm seeing no hands raised or waved.
I do not see any either.
Okay, with that, I guess I'd like to, do I have a motion to accept this? And then I'd like to comment a little bit further and just get tacit agreement among the board on another item that's related. So,
Also move.
Second,
okay, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Paff,
Aye.
trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
trustee Dawson,
aye.
trustee Carolyn Swanson,
Aye.
student advisory.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. It passes 4-0. So the biggest number on this is $25,000 for you line, as a matter of fact. And it is a not to exceed. Board, I think we need to give Mr. Kelly some direction as to a limit that he should probably make sure is a separate contract. I'd suggest, and again, I don't think it's material for this particular item, and I don't think it's something we need to take an action item on. I would suggest that at $20,000 or above, it becomes a separate item, and I'm wondering how we feel about that. We'll start with Ms. Dawson.
I think that would imply that perhaps we'd lump it and not note it effectively. Is that what your concern is, Mr.
Well,
Pierce?
what I don't want is the ability, it's not clear where a threshold for something that should be a separate contract. Obviously, construction materials, well, they have no upper limit. And the lower limit, you know, if you're really going for a pound of nails, we don't want a separate contract. And I'm just trying to give Matt some direction. So if he brings us a list of 10 items, none of them are at 50,000 because that seems absurd, but we should probably provide at least a nod to some sort of limit where you should, you know, say, okay, this is a separate item.
And did you suggest 20 or 25,000?
I suggested 20. So this item would be the only one that's above that as he goes through. And Mr. Kelly, what do you think of that? So.
Yeah, and you know, if that sounds good to me. Are you just kind of talking about like, like an overall, like if we do like a $25,000 PO to a certain job to Home Depot, then I would be able to purchase up to $20,000 and then bring back the actual purchases later on?
Well,
that's not what I heard.
I guess what I'm trying to suggest is, you know, these are not to exceed contracts to allow you to get general equipment, and it is rational and reasonable because first of all, you don't want to go buy $20,000 worth of 8 penny nails right now.
Right.
But it is rational that when you need them, that they are available to you and that you don't have to come to us.
Okay.
But what is that threshold where an NTE or a contract similar to this or similar to Central Restaurant, as Trustee Swanson pointed out, these are things we know we're going to get. I don't feel I have to go through them and micromanage that. But what is the threshold at which it's reasonable to you? Is $20,000?
Yeah, I think
rational?
$20,000 is more than reasonable. I think that's great.
So we're providing
sorry to
direction,
interrupt.
more or less. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that a question like this should be run through songs.
Okay, we'll ask Song in a moment.
Okay, just want to make sure we include her on this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think these are good questions, but I think the distinction here is supplies versus contract. These are all supplies. And we typically do not take a PO list to the board, but I do understand that you wanted separate identification for a bond measure. Normally what we can do is a quarterly because supplies is just so much that's going on.
Yeah.
By the time we get a PO, we just, especially during this kind of time, we may not have enough time, lead time to take it to the board to approve a PO. What we typically do, it can take a quarterly, which is more timely to the board than our other purchases, just to list all the purchases, supplies under each measure. Could be measure, measure D in this case, and we do that for measure A as well. So key supplies, contract, we do that. Even the small amount, there's no limit. We always take it to the board prior to implementation of their service. Hopefully that clarifies a little bit. But also I think it would be good for us to know if that's a departure from what the board desires, we may have to how to include this process into our operations if the supplies need to be pre-approved.
Well, at what point does it not become supplies? I mean, you are not spending $50,000 on supplies at a regular time, right?
We do on a normal, our regular non-bond, we do spend supplies. You know, buying things to repair routine restricted, routine maintenance, ground supplies, operational supplies, custodial supplies. We do.
Understood, but do we need to track them separately for the bond, correct?
Yes, we are. We're doing it. That's why we were thinking perhaps maybe a quarterly report to the board.
Well, we're asking Song's opinion. I feel comfortable with that. I don't want it to be like, as you said, micromanaging. If she's comfortable in her position overseeing that and we're kept in the loop, I just don't want to hold up the process as they're waiting to get to us for approval. So.
Okay. Mr. Swanson, you good with that?
Yeah, I am. You know, I don't see the need to over scrutinize it. Again, all these things that we're looking at right now, you know, if we see one meeting or two down the road, you know, and all of a sudden it's $100,000 for this or that, we have the opportunity to ask more questions and maybe redline an item as well. They're looking for approval on these POs, and I don't see anything wrong with the ones that are presented to us right now, and we'll see some more later. And but yeah.
Okay, Carolyn?
I'm comfortable with the concept of this. I just want to double check with you all that we're not making a decision on something that's not on the agenda.
We're actually allowing her to continue to operate in the manner in which she has been. But we're just making sure that we're all kind of fundamentally okay with that. I don't think there's a formal decision to be made. So.
Okay.
Okay, Song. So yes, keep tracking and whoops, in large bulk. Okay.
I think we
So,
were.
Mr. President, just to clarify, so a contract is the same manner as we've been doing. We always take every contract to the board, pre-approved before we, you know, implement a service. But for supplies, in this case here, we'll do, we do not take every purchase order to the board, but we'll do a quarterly report to the board what we have purchased. You know, it's more than what we usually are doing comparing to the other programs, but we'll do it for the bond. But at least the board can see every quarter how much we have spent on supplies. It just so that, you know, it just to ensure department can handle the services, can handle the work on a timely manner rather than just every PO would go to the board.
Correct.
The board has, okay.
That's exactly where we were.
Thank you for
perfect.
setting that up, Song.
Okay. Well, with that, we are past that item then. Thank you all very much. The next three items, coming back to Measure D. Steel tape construction for Pacific Grove High School Culinary. Richard Petty Electric for Pacific High School Culinary. Satellite painting for Pacific High School Culinary. And Matt, I have not actually opened up the item on my, I can't open it up two items at once. So the next item you'll have to explain. These are all the improvements that we started with at the culinary. Mr. Kelly, start with G. We will do them separately, but they are related.
Yeah, we'll do them separately. If I could, I think I have a 4-slide PowerPoint just to kind of so the board can see the project and the public can see what we're doing in the project, and then we can look at each contract separately if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me share it. So it's only the host can share it in this meeting.
Yeah, Mr. Mejia is going to probably have to have you log off and log back on to make you a host in order to present. Is that correct, Mr. Mejia?
You should be good to go.
Oh, there you go. Got it. Wow. Did the magic quicker than I thought.
Woo. All right. Let's see. All right. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yep.
All right. So this is essentially this is the demo plan. This first big sheet you see here. And what we're doing and the main focus of the project is looking at each one of these stations right here, and replacing the equipment in each one of those stations, which was placed in about 2001. So extremely outdated. A lot of the burners don't work, and they've had their useful life. They've made some great food, as the staff could attest to, and it's time to replace them. Over here, you can kind of see a side view of the stations. And one of the things that Jen Erickson came to me with and had a concern with was when she's teaching in this area right in here, is that her visual to this back area was she couldn't see, and maybe this area she couldn't see. So what the plan was when we got new equipment is that we'd move it out to the exterior walls of the project. And so when we got the bond money, the CTIG grant purchased about almost $35,000 worth of equipment, ranges and hoods. We were able to move this project is we're going to move these ranges and hoods that you see right here out to the exterior and just opening up this entire classroom. And so students will be able to listen from right in this area. She has a teaching station right in here. And so then they'll be able to cook, and there'll be visuals. And then what we're going to do here with her office right in this area is we're going to open that up, and then it'll be some dry storage. We're going to move refrigerators in there. So it'll no longer be an office, but a walk-in type of dry storage area. And with this too, which you don't see, and I think I put the plans in there, is there's a lot of electrical, there's a lot of plumbing. There's some sewage sewer that we're putting in that we have to tie into. So that's the majority of the cost of the project. Some of the equipment, like you can see right here, we're putting in, the new range, a new exhaust, and then also a new supply air for the kitchen as well, which will help with bringing air in and sucking it out, and it allows for the smoke not to kind of encapsulate the room as well. The flooring, which is the walk-on item, we're looking at putting a non-slip type floor, and that's in this picture right here. We're putting a non-slip type of floor. It is a little bit more expensive than a regular VCT flooring, but the cleaning, not having a slippery surface, I think will be the best for that kitchen. And then the other three pictures you see here are what we're replacing those built-in cabinets with and countertops with is more of a traditional equipment that you would see in a kitchen. So we're kind of just an upgrade from more of a home ec room to now a culinary type kitchen. And so I feel like, on top of the maintenance needs that the district has with roofing and painting and HVAC systems, that this we also wanted to look at classrooms as well. And with Series A, this is kind of the classroom that we identified as being the most in need, and they'd matched a bunch of money with the CTIG grant. So I thought this was a perfect project for Series A. And that's it. Let's see if I can get back.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. That is an overview of the entire project. Is there anything in particular about steel tape construction you'd like to?
So Steel Tape will be doing the majority of the demolition in the project. They'll be opening up some of the areas like the doorway into the office. They'll be setting and setting all the equipment, doing the penetrations through the roof, and putting together all the other tables and stuff like that. And I'm sorry, the gas and the plumbing as well.
Okay, I have no questions on this. Starting with Mr. Swanson.
No real questions, just a comment. I think it looks great. It's really exciting. It's amazing that they've managed to make do with what has been there since 2001, and that any of it is working at all. So it's just exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing it when it's all done.
Thank you, Ms. Swanson.
Thanks, John. You know, I see this classroom as a community asset, kind of in line with the stadium, to be honest. I think this is a fantastic program, and I think this, I'm just so glad that we are willing to fund this and that the board is supporting this. And anyways, so thank you for this. This is very exciting to me. I think this program is fantastic. But as far as the flooring goes, I have a question that you may have answered, but it's a walk-on, so I'm sorry if I missed it. But are we putting drains in the floor to clean them, or are we just replacing the floor?
We're just replacing the floor. We could put drains in there. There is a sewer line that goes through there, so it would be something that we could add. It would be an extra, but we could do that.
I think you should. Here I go overstepping, Ms. Director Kelly, but just speaking as someone from the restaurant industry, if you can put a drain in and this is the time to do it and you're willing, personally, I would say consider it. It'll make a huge difference in the length of time that the floor will be able to be kept clean, and then it allows for pressure washing from time to time. So anyways, now I'm going back from my overstepping. So the other thing I have that's it's a very positive, just kind of anecdotal thing to say is I've taken classes, culinary classes through the adult school in this classroom. So this classroom facilitates learning for students of all ages in our community. And I learned how to make Eggs Benedict from scratch in this classroom, including the English muffins. So thank you. I'm giddy about this project, I will say.
Ms. Dawson.
Yeah, I think it's fabulous. We aren't there all the time, but we did have a board meeting at the high school where we were served all these wonderful treats that they had created there. And there's nothing like an up-to-date modernized kitchen. I think the kids will benefit. And as Carolyn just said, the community as a whole. So this is a wonderful place to start.
Student advisory, Ms. Yanes.
I have no questions, but as a student who is hoping to join the culinary class, I'm excited about the updates because they look great.
Terrific.
And Trustee Pavitt, just really quick, I just want to say that, the design you see there this is Jen's creation. This is her design, her vision. So she gave it to me and I pretty much just was already like 75% complete. So this is her vision. This is, and I agree, this is a great project.
Okay. Public comment.
Sean Keller.
Sean, go ahead, Sean.
Thank you, President Paff. Again, as a former CTE administrator at the high school, I just want to thank Director Kelly and the board for supporting this project. Again, I just really hope that we can keep our incentive and continue to support all of the classes at the high school. I know it will take a lot of money and a lot of years, but we need to keep it going and support our computers program. We need to support our sports medicine program, art, photo, and just keep up the good work because our students deserve it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. Any other hands up? And Ms. Erickson.
I just wanted to thank the board and Director Kelly, Director Kelly, just for all the work and all the support and expertise you've lent to this. And I actually wanted to give props to Sean Keller because you were the one from almost the moment I started at PG High who really had a vision for growing not just my program, but the whole career technical education department. And we're starting to see that dream bear fruit. So I really want to thank you and everyone else who has been involved in this. And Shane. Yes, and Shane Steinbach, who has played a huge role with the CTIG grant and has been a tremendous support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Erickson. I see no other hands up. Ms. Erickson, congratulations on your program's winners in your Monterey competition. It was exciting to read. I really appreciated the presentation you sent out. Also, you do have the most interesting background of anybody I've seen on Zoom ever. With that, do I have a motion to, we're going to end up going through these one at a time. Either way, they are separate items, but do I have a motion to accept Steel Tape Construction?
I move.
I'll make the motion
Okay.
on staff's recommendation.
Thank you. Motion is made by Carolyn Swanson, seconded by Christy Dawson. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Paff,
Aye.
trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
trustee Dawson,
Aye.
trustee Carolyn Swanson,
Aye.
student advisory.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is contract for services with Richard Petty Electric for PG High School Culinary. Mr. Kelly, I don't think you have to go through this separately. Obviously, a project of this involves multiple construction disciplines. We are acting as our own GC, so Mr. Kelly subcontracts out for these items separately. Mr. Kelly, do you need to add to that?
No, thank you though.
Okay, we'll start with Ms. Swanson.
Thank you. I'll just go ahead and make a motion to approve this on staff's recommendation.
Fair enough. I will second that. We'll still go through comments, but I second that. Ms. Dawson.
No comment. Let's do it.
Mr. Swanson.
Nothing to add. Let's roll.
Ms. Yanez.
I don't have a comment.
Any additional, thank you, Ms. Yanez. Any additional public comment? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion made by trustee Swanson, seconded by trustee Paff. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Paff,
Aye.
trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
trustee Dawson,
Aye.
trustee Carolyn Swanson,
Aye.
student advisory.
Aye.
Thank you.
Passes 4-0. Thank you. We are well, we're half the way there to getting you a new classroom, Jen. Contract for services with satellite painting. I think, again, this is actually very straightforward. You're going to go ahead and once we're done building, make it look good. So 1 prime coat, 2 coat paints on all interior walls. Mr. Kelly, we are not putting up any FRT on the walls or something similar.
No, it's all paint. It'll be like some sort of semi-gloss thing that's easy to wipe down.
An epoxy sort of thing, or is it just regular?
Just regular. Just
Okay.
like it could be it could be some sort of epoxy. Yeah, we do have flexibility with that in the contract if we wanted to.
I have no further questions. We'll start with Ms. Dawson.
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Mr. Swanson.
No questions. Thank you.
Ms. Swanson.
I'll be bold and make another motion to go on staff's recommendation for this one.
What about Ms. Yanez?
We'll get to Ms. Yanez. Go ahead.
You can comment.
Yeah, Ms. Yanez.
I have no questions.
Okay, public comment. Seeing none. Do I have a motion to pass as presented? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, a motion's made by Carolyn Swanson, seconded by Brian Swanson. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Paff,
Aye.
trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
trustee Dawson,
Aye.
trustee Carolyn Swanson,
Aye.
student advisory.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, passes 4-0. Thank you all very much. Our last item on this list is, pardon me while I pull up some very fine print. A walk-on item, which is contract for services for Conklin Brothers for PG High School culinary room improvements. District administration recommends the board review and approve contract of services for $31,820 to Conklin Brothers for the flooring work at PG High School culinary room improvements. Mr. Kelly, anything to add to that?
Just thank you for allowing me to walk this on. And when in the process of this, as a lot of things right now, materials are hard to get, and waiting an extra 2 weeks, I was a little nervous that we would start pushing towards the beginning of school. So wanted to walk this on so we could cut 2 weeks off of the material order.
Okay. Mr. Kelly, this item actually says no other bidders responded.
No, there should have been one other bidder. I think that I listed on there. That might have been something I didn't erase from the original.
You are correct. Actually, there's
Yes.
one listed and then a note saying no other bidders.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. That's not correct. Okay, it's okay. I appreciate you bringing it forward if necessary. Ms. Swanson requested earlier or noted earlier that a drain is a very useful thing. What sort of change would that be to Conklin Brothers, do you think?
Nothing to Conklin Brothers, but it would be a change possibly to steel tape construction to install the drain, but probably not. We could do that really pretty easily because we're already opening up the slab to put in a new sewer. So we wouldn't have any extra cutting or anything else. Just a little bit of material that we could purchase on our own with that one of those Home Depot POs or ACE POs.
Fair enough. Ms.
Yeah.
Erickson, what's your thought on that? If you're still online, if you don't mind me calling on you.
Might be muted. Hang on. There we go.
Not unmuted yet.
Okay, there we go. I'm absolutely 100% in favor of putting in the drains. I think it's an excellent idea for the longevity of the entire classroom. It'll be more hygienic. Yeah, full support.
Okay. Mr. Kelly, you're saying that we don't have to amend this particular contract for that, but really we don't have to amend the steel tape contract for that either. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, if there's any extra costs with stuff like that, we will do it on a change order. And what our contract says is that the contractor has to proceed right away, and then we bring the change order to the board for approval afterwards.
Okay.
I don't think there's going to be an extra change. It's a pretty minor, considering where we're at and what we have to do in there. It's really minor.
Okay, so we can settle this one and move forward.
Yes.
Okay, well, with that, Ms. Swanson.
Oh, sorry for my delay in unmuting. Yeah, this looks fine. I read it earlier. I don't have any further questions on it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dawson.
No questions as well. Thank you.
Mr. Swanson.
No questions, but yeah, let's add a drain. Who doesn't want a drain?
Okay. Ms. Yanez.
No questions.
Okay, with that, we'll open up this item for, sorry, I have to find it. Contract for services to Conklin Brothers for the culinary room improvements to public comment. I see none. So we will bring that back. Do I have a motion to approve this contract?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made by Christy Dawson, seconded by Brian Swanson. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Path,
Aye.
trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
trustee Dawson,
Aye.
trustee Carolyn Swanson,
Aye.
student advisory.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. I would like to reiterate, and I'll end up doing this pretty much every time we go through a Measure D fund, the public support that we're receiving. I thank PG voters for allowing us to move forward on these items. In particular, This item, as Ms. Swanson has pointed out, is a community asset. It's not just our high school students, but it's available for others in other classes. And these improvements, a 20-year-old classroom with as much, quite frankly, heavy-duty effort on it, and rearranging it to match what Ms. Erickson really likes, is a tremendous step. And I appreciate the faith that the district voters have put in us on such items. So with that, we will move on to
President Path?
Yes.
Did I just totally blank out, or did we actually go through the motions and close out action discussion F? Did we actually vote on that one? I don't recall. I remember discussing it and talking about limits, but I don't remember that we actually voted on it.
The purchase order one, trustee Brian?
Yes, correct.
Yes. I have you making the motion and Chrissy Dawson seconding 4-0.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. With that, we will move back to what was consent D. So, Ms. Mankey.
Yes, President Path, I do have additional information, and Trustee Swanson. So the two employees in question with their credential authorizations, both of them hold what I had previously stated, which is what's known as a 30-day substitute permit. They've both been working in the district over 6 years as paraeducators, and Andrea Webb is in the final stages of her special ed credential authorization. In fact, I'm told that if she were to be hired next year as a teacher, she could come in as a first-year special ed teacher. So that's how close she is to finishing her program. And then just to note that we are continuing our recruitment for special ed and some summer school staffing positions. It's just that June 3rd is coming up very quickly. And given the year that we've had, not a lot of teachers want to put the time into summer school. So it's not as, easily recruitable as it could potentially be. So that's where we're at.
Thank you very much. Ms. Dawson, do you have any questions on this item?
No, I appreciate the difficulty sometimes finding the people that you need, and I'm sure your search was thorough, so thank you.
Okay, Mr. Swanson.
No questions, thank you.
Ms. Swanson.
I'm taking a deep breath because I want to clarify, and I want to clarify this. So are you saying that Kyle is not a credentialed special education teacher, but you're setting him up to teach special education this summer?
I am saying that Kyle has been serving as a special ed paraeducator in the classroom for 6 years. He has his 30-day emergency substitute permit, which allows him to teach for 30 days in a row. And so is qualified to teach in our summer school since it is less than 30 days. However, he is not a credentialed special ed teacher.
Okay, so let me just clarify. So he is legally allowed to teach special education summer school. Is that correct?
He is allowed to teach special education summer school. I do realize that it may be different than what might be on an IEP.
Hold on a second. Okay. Okay, so if this is what's taking place, then I'd like to hear further about how we're going to communicate to families who have on their IEPs that a certificated special education teacher is going to be teaching their child. I don't want this to fall through the cracks like it has previously. I want to be really clear about that.
Okay.
So if you feel this is legal.
Our parents were sent a letter this week informing them of what teachers we will have available because we're starting so soon. We are continuing our search. Many of the school districts, their end date is into June. So we're still hoping that we can pick someone up so that they wouldn't be there the first week, the first 2 days of instruction. But if we can get somebody to start that second week, that would be great. Our calendar overlaps with other school districts by a week to up to 2 weeks, which also makes makes our recruitment more difficult. But just like any position, when we're not able to find a fully credentialed teacher, yet we're mandated by federal law to hold summer school, we do the best we can. And what is fantastic about this opportunity is both these individuals, Andrea Webb and Kyle, know these children extremely well and their families, and the children know them. And so our preference is always to keep our children in their classrooms, which other school districts do not do, and to keep them with the staff that they know. But again, we are continuing our search. I think Sean Keller wants to say something.
Thank you, Director Davies. Trustee Carolyn and other board members that are worried about this situation, I completely understand your concern from what's occurred in the past. However, as the site administrator of both of these employees, I can assure you they are the utmost professionals, and I have no doubt that they will conduct an extremely well taught summer school for these students. I have witnessed what they do, and led by Patty Bloomer, they are the top of their craft. And I look forward to possibly having one of them be a teacher for me someday, full time. So.
And I actually met with Patty today. She needs a break. She's actually planning the curriculum. So it's not like they're on their own. She's meeting with them. She's planning the curriculum. She's planning the schedule. It's just that she herself she needs a break.
I can't understand this. I'm sorry. I can't understand how this is something that we're implementing for our kids who are qualified for special education. So
Okay,
if this is a plan to have teachers who actually are emergency 30-day subs teaching highly specialized curriculum to some of our most at-risk children in our district, I want to see this documented. I want to see parents not just getting a list of the name of their teacher, but also it being really clear that some of those parents, you're in possibly breach of their IEPs. I'm not happy about this.
Carolyn, what would you suggest?
I think I can talk to you offline about what I would suggest further.
Okay.
It's not going to be something we should talk about in public because I'm not happy.
I would like to add that I'm not comfortable calling people out by name specifically and discussing this. I just don't think that's quite right, and it's not respectful to these individuals. I would say what I know as somebody who used to hire an education, you put it out there and you just pray that the right person shows up. Sometimes they don't. And then you have to figure out other plans, and you've got to do the best that you can do. But I feel very strongly that these individuals should not be called out by names talking about deficits. It's just not acceptable here.
Christy, I'm
Ms.
talking
Purcell.
about them.
You're talking about their ability to teach a certain class, and I don't think they need to be named. I think what your point is that you want certificated teachers per the IEP in the classroom in the teaching position. And emergency 30-day things are here because all over the place, especially in special ed, people can't find what they need. Now, I do think there are things that can be discussed, and I love that it's a little bit of this now as a follow-up offline, but I want to be respectful of educators in our districts, whether they're paraprofessionals or aides or whatever they are, that I want to not discuss them personally with names at the meeting. I'm not sure when we've ever done that in other places, and I feel very uncomfortable right now about it.
Ms. Swanson.
Well, their names are listed in the packet, and I was clarifying if they're qualified to teach special education summer school. So I apologize if it feels like a personnel issue. I have absolutely no problem whatsoever with these individuals. One of them in particular I've dealt with, and my child has dealt with, and I know they're fantastic. This is not a question of personnel or whether or not they're, this is not evaluating them as personnel. This is making sure that we're holding ourselves accountable for our children who qualify for special education. And if this is something, Billy said that she feels this is legal and this is okay to do, then I'm saying that needs to be clearly communicated to our families, that their kids are being taught by folks who are not special education teachers, and that may go against their IEPs.
So I'm going to bring this back and then I'll let Ms. Brousseau ask a question. What I heard was we have two people who are available and who under 30-day sub are credential or not, are in a position where they are legal to teach these items. And what is being asked is to make sure that parents are duly aware and very specifically aware. Ms. Brousseau.
Well, while we're waiting for Kylene, I just want to repeat that a letter was sent to all of our extended school year families, and the parents were informed that one person is a special education teacher intern with a substitute permit, and the other person also has their substitute permit. So our parents were informed.
Hey there,
Thank
it's Kylene Brousseau. I'm a teacher at Forest Grove, and I also have a kiddo who is in the SDC program. And I just want to say, as somebody who has taught special education and as a parent of a kiddo with special needs, these paraprofessionals and these instructional aides know the children extremely well. And we often refer to the instructional aides that work with my son as also their teachers and see them as equal to their teachers. And as a parent, I would much rather have paraprofessionals with a substitute credential working with my child who knows my child than a stranger, especially for such a short period of time. I think by the time the stranger comes in and gets to know your child, summer school is over. So I'd much rather have a 30-day sub credential and somebody that knows them than a stranger. So that's from my perspective as a parent and also my perspective as a special education teacher in the past. I've done both because special education, the teachers need a break in the summer. They need to refresh in order to give their all back in the fall. So it's tough to find those positions. And when you have the paraprofessionals that are willing to step up and do that in the summer, it's much more comforting. So I wanted to say that as both an educator and as a parent.
Thank you, Ms. Brousseau.
Thanks.
Okay.
Mr. President, if I may, one thing I just want to add, we had a discussion about this morning with the county superintendents. There are two districts, thus far, no one in the county is able to fill all of the summer school spots that are open right now in their hiring. There's one school district in particular that only has 10% of their hiring for summer school filled. They can't find anybody. It is extremely difficult to find applicants right now. You can read through all the journals. We're seeing this throughout the state. I think at this stage of the game, we're doing the best we can to fill the positions with the qualified staff that we can. I think Ms. Brousseau's comments were poignant and really accurate in regards to what we feel we can best supply as an instructor in the classroom for these students. If we could find qualified people, which we do recruit for, we would have those people there. But we want to get someone in that's qualified enough to do the job they can do and to serve our students so that we don't lose out and have no instruction at all. I think that's kind of where we are.
Okay, again, I'm going to bring this back here, but under the definition of the law, we have qualified personnel. And I think the item that is being stressed here is to make sure that that is abundantly clear that, qualified here is on a 30-day sub-credential, which is perfectly okay and usable. But it should be put out, and it has been put out. With that, I'd like to, kind of either move this forward or determine if we have to do something else with it at this point. So I'm going to come back to Carolyn. Do you have anything else on that particular at this time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, parents just really need to know that this is what's going on this year. And so, I'm going to go so far as to say I'd like to read the notice that was sent out to them, and then I can go from there. And we can do that at a later time. As a parent in the district, as a parent of a special ed child, and as a trustee, I am respectfully asking to see that notice that went out to parents.
Okay. We can make sure, Claire, you can get that, right?
Absolutely.
Nonetheless, we have to make a decision, if not even on those, on the rest of this consent. So on the rest of this item. So Brian or Christy, anything else?
I have a couple things. One, I wanted to thank Director Davies for addressing the notification of the parents. Of course, you notified the parents. That's what you do. That's protocol, and it comes as no surprise that you did that. So thank you for clarifying that. And another comment was made about, is this, I think it was, is this our plan moving forward? Well, this is our plan when plan A doesn't work. And we have to figure out how to address these needs. And these steps have been put in place so that if we are not able to fill the positions, which is the circumstances that we're encountering now, we have a method to do the best that can be done, which is all legal. And again, of course, if we could have done it differently, we would have. But as Dr. Porras had indicated as well, we were not able to do that, and many districts were not able to do that. So there's nobody's shirking here in what they're doing. Everybody's trying to do the best that they can, and this is where we are, and this is what we have. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Dawson, anything else? I've gone around everybody else.
No.
Okay. With that, do I have a motion?
Also move.
Second.
Okay. We have a request to have that letter sent to trustees. I don't think that has to be part of the motion, but I would like it to occur. Can we agree on that, Ralph?
Yeah, Director Davies already agreed to have that sent out.
Perfect. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Path,
Aye.
trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
trustee Carolyn Swanson. Oh, are you muted? I'm sorry. Did you answer?
I'm sorry.
I skipped Dawson, but I was going to go back.
Oh, okay. No, I declined this.
Trustee Dawson,
Yes.
student advisory.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Passes 3-1. Thank you all very much. We move on to what was consent N, which was the, pardon me, I have to find it. Yeah.
The grant.
Yeah, it's a
Extended learning
grant,
opportunities
and
grant, yes.
It's actually, I interpret it as a kind of a stub. Ms. Davies, can you go ahead and walk through this a little bit?
Sure. Actually, it's both myself and Ani Silva.
Okay.
And we received notification through Song's office that our district was provided an apportionment based on ADA to provide expanded learning opportunities for students who may have experienced learning loss and for those who may be experiencing social and emotional needs. this is a very unusual application. It's not really an application. It's really, here's your money, very broad parameters of how the money is to be used. And then we are to inform on a very short timeline in a very broad manner how we intend to use the funding, knowing that it is a draft. And then as evidenced by the way in which the expenditure plan is organized in 2 columns. 1, planned expenditures, 2, actual expenditures. So this is still a fluid document that we needed to put together very quickly. And we still are moving as we're firming up actually how much certain things in our plan will cost. We're still moving money from the 7 identified areas. And the actual expenditure report is due December 1st. So that's how much time we have. We've worked with our administrators very, very closely because they're at the ground level, working directly with our wonderful teachers and staff. And our first step is to identify who are the children. And that's what's strange about this. We have to project what we're going to do before we know who the children are. So our plan is that all students will have an assessment in May. It's called the MAPS, which stands for the Measure of Academic Progress. This will give us a detailed report on by objective for each child of what they've mastered and where they are in their mastery as per their grade level. That will help us identify exactly who the students are, paying very close attention to our targeted groups as well, which are the typical defined low socioeconomic English language learners, students with disabilities. So that's how we will identify the students. We also have to identify students who may be having social and emotional issues that we are not yet aware of. And so that assessment will also be universal across 1st through 12th, all students. And that will help us identify in the fall the students that we also need to target to support their social emotional needs.
Thank you, Director Davies. Ani, Director Silva, do you have anything you'd like to add on that? Or
yeah, well, Claire said that absolutely beautifully. That was a beautiful, beautiful summary of what the plan is. And I echo what she's saying. I mean, this is a fluid plan. It's like, they give you all this money and it's like, okay, now come up with a plan. However, they know that it's going to evolve. It will evolve because it is based on student need. And we can't just make up need. We have to identify the need. And therefore, that's what Claire has said. And I want to say too, Claire mentioned December 1, that we have to have to say what we actually spent, but December 1st of 2022. So we have, this is a full year's and summer implementation. So we've already begun very in-depth conversations around what it is that we intend to achieve. But it's like it's building the plane and flying it at the same time. I mean, it's like okay, let's hit the ground running now. But it's the end of school, and school's out in a week. And so, but we've hit the ground running with summer school and what we're intending to implement, especially with our 1st and 2nd graders, let's say, that aren't able, that are maybe below grade level in reading, as identified, right? Like our teachers are giving us the scores like Monday. So what I'm saying is that we're working on this like right now. So I think this is it's a very, very good plan. It covers the 3 most important components, which is learning loss, skill gaps, social emotional, not just for our students, but we also have to train our staff and our classified staff, certificated and classified, and food is the other component. So anyway, that's what I would like to add.
Thank you very much. So one of the caveats with this particular item, and it's written there in the background paragraph, is this template. Well, first of all, this template came out very recently, 2 weeks ago, but also you need to apply and have something in place and approved by June 1, 2021. At which point are we are given this money and we are allowed to use it, but in fact it is intended. This is a stub of a plan for me. This is not where we're going to end up. It says we know the directions we're going to go. We know what we're going to be looking at, but we don't, we're not trying to define it all. It's not the LCAP. It's not 114 pages right now. It's saying these are the 3 or 4 items we really need to be looking at to ensure that we receive this and we can plan on using this money next year and through 2022. So this will come back, correct? It'll come back in the fall. You don't have MAPS data, and we don't really know enough about where our students are emotionally, and we certainly won't know where they are come August. So it'll come back with basically with depth very shortly into 2021, 2022. With that, I think I was on, I don't know where I was on my list. So we'll start with Brian.
I don't have any real questions. It's very interesting, and it's like I think Ani had said, you're trying to build the airplane while you're in midair or surfing on this grant and trying to do the best that you can with it. It's great that we have it. It's a huge challenge. I'm glad the people that are leading this team are the people that are leading the team, because we have very qualified people handling it. But boy, what a challenge. Great. Again, it's great that we have it, but what a challenge ahead of you too.
Mm-hmm. Ms. Swanson.
Yeah, thanks, John. I appreciate the description, and I like that we were able to discuss it further. I think it's a really important, even though it's a very succinct document at this point. I think it kind of puts our little stake in the sand for getting this money and then going further with details later. So I appreciate it, even though, of course, I wish there was more details, but I just don't really think it's possible to add too many more details to what it is at this point. So thank you.
You're absolutely right. Thank you, Ms. Swanson. Ms. Dawson.
I agree with what's been previously stated. It's so nice to have any kind of resources that come rolling in for our students that can enhance their educational experience. So it's great you're strong and enthusiastic and ready to move forward. So go get them.
Ms. Yanez.
I don't have any questions.
Mr. President, if I may.
Yes.
I just wanted to add a little bit to it. Aside from kudos to Directors Davies and Silva for the work on this, which has just been extraordinary. I want to really make clear that when I spoke earlier in the COVID report, that there's an expectation for us to serve the needs of students that have not performed well this past year, which was the root of that potential distance learning requirement, and the like. This grant was designed specifically to preserve those needs. And so it's important to note that this pot of money is specific for this purpose only. I think the other piece to make a note of is we may need to start tapping into some of this money if we are taking a look at hires this summer that are going to help support this cause. So if we need to take a look at bringing in personnel to support what we know is already the case, that there are students out there that have suffered during distance learning who have academic gaps, we can pretty much tell you right now which students we know have not accelerated sufficiently enough this past year under distance learning. There needs to be some kind of work that this plan addresses to help move those students along that are going to be outside of the regular classroom. And so we know that that's going to require personnel. And so it may be that as we move into the June, you may already start seeing some action and activity in the June board meetings to take a look at hiring in personnel. That will be temporary because these are temporary monies. This is not permanent. But I want to make that clear too. We're already moving on trying to see where we can begin to fill those gaps because we know the purpose of this grant. So there's a lot there. You're right, for sure.
Ralph, is this, if we approve this tonight, is this money then allocated to us? 1.3 mil?
I think that, yeah, I think once the this plan gets submitted to the county, more than likely, the most important entity that this plan needs to be approved by is the local education agency board. So you all, once that's done by board action, we are qualified for the funding. So, yeah.
Okay, and this is out of AB 86, right? This is the same as IPI. Well, it's not the same.
No, it's not
from
the same.
Same bill that sponsored the IPI.
Yes, yes. You have a number of other bills. The bill, and there's another source of funding that's a potential that may be coming as well, but it's very specifically slated for, whereas other funds can be used to cover COVID expenses like salaries and materials and other, this is specific to this grant. So there are different kinds of links that are established to this.
So, I mean, that's good news.
Yeah.
And allows us, as things do occur, to reach into, continue our efforts to make sure that people are caught up, if not by the end of summer, within a year, or whatever the time frame is, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But this particular one, you're saying may come back as early as next meeting, quite frankly, with some feet somewhere to pick up what we know.
Yes. Absolutely. I mean, we've already identified a lot of what we know we're going to need. We're just trying to crystallize it a little bit. And again, I want to reiterate that the support that we want to provide is directly to our teachers in the classroom for their students that they serve, with the understanding that we cannot expect our classroom teachers to take on an additional load like they have this entire year. They can't continue that. And that this grant is specifically designed to help provide support for the classroom teachers so that we can help mitigate those learning losses with additional support. That's where this comes from. So anyway, I apologize. I don't mean to tread on the director's grounds there, but I wanted to add that information. So,
Director Silver, you have another comment?
Oh, I just wanted to piggyback on what Ralph was saying, that, you know, when you think of the title, expanded learning, a lot of this expanded learning opportunity is during the school day, but it's after school as well. So and I want to reiterate the credit recovery piece too, and why we need additional personnel, why our classroom teacher can't be the one that teach during the school day and then stay after school as well. So that's, you know, I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. So we've had discussion. I think I've spoken enough. Quite frankly, I'm losing it here. Ms. Swanson, did you have any other questions, concerns?
No, I already stated my comments. Thank you.
We have gone around once. Okay.
Yes.
I'm losing track. So have I opened a public comment, Ralph?
Not yet.
Okay, we're opening public comment. Carolyn, thanks for reminding me.
I'm not seeing anyone.
Okay. So do I have a motion to accept this?
So moved.
A second.
Okay, motion's made by Christy Dawson, seconded by Brian Swanson. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Paff,
Aye.
trustee Brian Swanson,
Aye.
trustee Dawson,
Aye.
trustee Carolyn Swanson,
Aye.
student advisory.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all very much. And Director Silva and Director Davies, thank you for putting it forth, and good luck as we move forward into summer. So
Don't worry, I love to spend money for the students.
That's a good qualifier.
I have this vision of a red Maserati driving up.
No.
Something went wrong.
No.
Moving on, board calendar, future
no.
meetings. We have our calendar. I don't recollect any changes. I do want to remind people there is a May 28th. We have a board vacancy appointment with interviews and a vote on May 28th, 4 p.m. Dr. Porras, anything else?
No, Mr. President, that's it. I do want to make note that the agenda with names and specifics will be released on that Monday. So this coming Monday.
3 days from now.
Yes.
5 days, 4 days from now.
Perfect way to kick off a 3-day weekend.
So, Ms. Dawson, questions, concern on the calendar?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Mr. Swanson,
Thank you.
Ms. Swanson.
Yeah, I do have a question. It's actually about our next meeting. So regarding the review of legal services that's coming up on, I think it's June 17th. I just wanted to float this idea out there. It might not go anywhere, but when the first review of legal services was presented a couple months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, it was really just a list of all of our legal expenditures. It didn't really have any context. And I was wondering, I wanted to kind of brainstorm with everyone, including Song, because I think she's the one who puts it together. And I don't want to give her a task that takes an immense amount of time. But I was wondering if we could try to put more context into that information. For example, somehow depict if the costs have greatly increased or decreased since like the last time frame that those were generated, if that makes sense.
Okay, so I don't think that's a change on the meeting, but I think it's a request for some information when we get to that item. Song or Ralph, do you need further information from Trustee Swanson to perhaps be able to do that? We routinely have compared it to prior years. So beyond that.
This is an item that the information that we've presented over the years comes directly from Lozano Smith. We asked them for a detailed billing and they categorize it. They do this for all of the districts that they serve. Just an opportunity. I mean, we can certainly take a look at a couple of years back so you can see it's cyclical. It just always, every year is going to be different just because of what comes up each year. And people can make note of what titles exist on closed session items so you get an idea of where certain things get spent on. But we can drill down a little bit, but we have to be a little careful because much of what's on there is attorney-client privilege as well. But trends we can certainly do. We can talk a little
I'm
bit
going
about
to suggest that Ms. Swanson reach out to you to see if that is sufficient to what she needs. Okay.
Okay.
I can tell you right now, it sounds good. I'm looking for trends, not specific, so that sounds great.
Okay. Okay, we can, we'll work with Lozano Smith and see what they can produce, and hopefully that'll take a little bit off of our assistant superintendent.
Yeah,
Okay, so
good. Thank you.
There is no change on the board calendar, so we will move forward. Our last item on this, before we go back to closed session, is future agenda items. Starting with Ms. Swanson, actually. I think I started with Brian, so future agenda items.
The only thing I have listed is, and it might be coming up on next meeting, but where is the crossing guard item?
Right now, we are working on job descriptions to get those complete. We've been working with the city to get some details on that as well, so that we can actually post and begin to hire for those. Right now, the primary positions that the city filled, that's what we're looking at, and then we can expand from there. But right now, it's in personnel with job descriptions.
Okay, so we should probably see the job descriptions at the next meeting.
I would hope in the next couple of meetings. I'll need to check in with Director Mankey.
I just don't want the date to sneak up on people and not have people hired in time.
Understood.
Thank you.
Okay, so I don't hear that as a new action actually, but just a note to say, let's stay on top of it. Christy.
Yeah, I see my little solar panels got moved from spring to fall, but I'm a patient woman.
There's sun. There's plenty of sun still in the fall.
Okay, I'm gonna wait for that.
Okay.
PG after all.
Brian?
No, thank you.
Ralph?
No, sir.
I have nothing at this time. So we will adjourn here, and please let's move back into closed session.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Mary, thank you for sticking around for a while. Mary, is that your son Brock who won a, you can't talk back right now. Sorry. Yeah.
I think they're logged on, but they're still logged on, but they're no longer present.
Okay.
Corinne's
Oh,
watching.
that's,
Hi, Corinne. She's still here. Thank you.
Corinne's there.
Corinne.
give
All
a
right.
thumbs up. She's talking.
Yeah.
Oh,
So is Brock Quindamil, is he going to MIT? Is that the deal? That's pretty
I think
impressive.
so. I think I saw her on
Wasn't
a
that
walk last week and heard that.
Yeah. Hey, so we have come out. We are very close to finalizing your eval and goals for next year. We're going to go through one more short iteration and we should have them. But with that, we can close this meeting. So thank you all so very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your efforts tonight. Good night.
Good night. Good night,
Good
all.
night,
Take care.
everybody.
Be
Thanks,
safe.
Raf.
Bye, Corinne.